Welcome back to the Bourbon and BS podcast, everyone. This is episode 331, and it is Nate Hale and I, Steve Crane, in the garage. We do have a live studio audience. Content Kyle is in the garage, so we appreciate if you guys, we're going to get some pictures out there from last week. I think he's just enjoying a cigar and whiskey this week. Did you get some of what we're featuring tonight? Yeah. Okay, cool. You did not.
This?
You got some of this?
Yeah, he did.
He's got it. He's already confused. We're going to get him on the show, but he needs to get his bearings down. Yeah, prepared. Took a hiatus from the garage, the old garage. But yeah, so welcome. We are featuring something new that Nate brought, and we have a newish cigar in the last year or so, probably actually last PCA Premium Cigar Association trade show is going to be starting up here in 2-3 weeks out. Are they in Vegas? I don't think they are this year.
I have no idea.
I forget. We're not going, but it's Florida, Orlando, New Orleans, something like that. I don't know if anyone out there knows.
Never been.
We're not going this year. We are already seeing some of the trade deals here. But anyways, this Hoyo de Monterey that we're going to be smoking was featured, I believe, last year there. So we'll be talking about that. Want to thank our sponsors, Tinder Box at Easton, kind of where we're based out of. Tinder Box at Easton just celebrated the 12th year of the Smoking 10 event 2 Sundays ago. So between last episode and this one, went really well. Great feedback. So we appreciate all the support there. You can find the Hoyo de Monterey line at Tinder Box at Easton, along with other forged and general cigars. David Welsh out there. Thank you. New Orleans. David Welsh, Altadis USA. He will be planning on next episode in 2 weeks. We'll be featuring hopefully something brand new from Altadis, which he shared a few things with us today, and they've got some spectacular things out there. Second cigar, rolling right into our sponsors.
Yeah.
Altadis USA. We got the H. Upman Day Trader. And like I said, Altadis will be represented on the show next week. You see some of their lines behind us: Monte Cristo, Romeo y Julieta, H. Upman Aging Room, among others. Got that cool there. I had to do that slowly because we're on opposite sides now in the garage.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, the Monte Cristo white wall hanging there. Very, very cool. We've got a couple other things hanging up behind us here from them, but looking for that. Thank you for the continued support. They were a big hit at the Smoking 10 event 2025 as well. And also want to thank BS Cigar Company for the gold and the silver are available. Gold, all sizes are back in stock. So the Robusto Toro and the Double Churchill are all back in stock. Those are made by Plasencia. The silver is made by Espinosa. Right now, just the, I guess called the Trabuco size from him, but the 6x58 is available at the current time. But hopefully we'll get more in stock from them. They've been very busy, obviously, Espinosa Cigars as well. So appreciate BS Cigar Company. Also want to thank you guys, patreon.com/Bourbon and BS podcast. We are still getting monthly contributions. We appreciate that, keeping this going. During the hiatus, it helped out. Obviously, we didn't want to discontinue our streaming service or anything like that, like StreamYard or the Libsyn for the posting the audio. So we appreciate you guys supporting us through that. Also, the one-time contributions, Venmo at Bourbon and BS. So we appreciate you guys continuing to support the podcast. And most importantly, beyond all that, we just ask that you do the most important thing, like share, like, comment, review, and subscribe on all formats that you enjoy listening to our show. Tell your friends. So if you guys are listening tonight or another time, listen after the fact, please share it with all your friends and people that you think might enjoy it, whether it be part 1 or part 2 or both. Nate, how are you?
I'm doing well.
I'm going to light this cigar while you talk to everyone.
Yeah. No, it's the 10 event a couple Sundays ago was the start of a very, very busy time period. I think today's my first day off from either job in 2 weeks.
All right.
Yeah, last week was busy because started off with the 10 event and then lots of stuff happening at work and more hours, longer hours, go to court as a witness. And
as a witness. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah. Yeah, all that on my day off. Just long.
Gotta love that.
So today was nice to have a day to just be at home and just kind of chill for a little bit. Bundled up earlier in the afternoon while the sun was out and sat out in the backyard with a cigar.
Just had to get out there.
I wanted
As Ray Chester's asking, is it cold? Yes, it's a little cold here.
Yeah, it's under 50.
40s right now.
Yeah. No, it was good to just have a day where I didn't have to go anywhere or do anything until 6:30.
Here you are.
Here I am.
Sitting in a garage where it's still a little bit chilly.
It is.
So
that is one big thing difference between this studio and the old studio is this one faces east. So we miss out on the sunsets during the summertime.
We do, but I'm not upset about it that it's on the back patio here. So
I know, right? Yeah.
Selfishly, I'm not too upset about it. We could do an episode out there if we start early enough and we're not sitting in the dark, because we've had some remote ones with Nate sitting outside, and it starts out looking great, and then by the end of it, it's just like a glow of his cigar, and then there's like a fire that we hope is planned in the background.
Yeah.
All right, let's get started. Part one, we go over a cigar and bourbon typically. As we rebooted, we want to stay focused on, obviously the spirit and the cigar. I think this year we want to get some more, like especially local ones, but want to get some of our returning guests. If we get some, connect with some of the distilleries like we have, like Barrel Craft Spirits and stuff like that. But I think, being every other week, I envision maybe some more cigar guests this year. I think we were a little bourbon heavy going into the kind of rounding out, I think, which is great.
Yeah.
But I think, we'll see where it goes. I say that, and now we're going to have like 3 months of bourbon guests.
Especially when, back in the fall, Watershed released their fall finishing series. And
absolutely.
They send us a bottle of all 4 of them. So it's like, all right, well.
Certainly not getting away from it. I don't want to come across that way. But let's start with the cigar tonight. I haven't even taken a sip of the whiskey, so I think I'm a little fresh on the cigar, at least for now. And I'm glad this spelled it right on the description on Facebook or on the streaming. Hoyo de Monterey with 2 R's. This is a very iconic brand under the forged, under the general side of SGG. So This is Hoyo de Monterey. This is the Rojo. This came out along with a sister cigar, if you will, the Oscuro. Similar branding, except so this has basically black. Yeah, it's more of a black, and you guys never can see this. Maybe you can with 1080p now, but probably not. But classic kind of Hoyo de Monterey logo there with some of the gold coins, the crown, the shield, like you were going to say, the Hoyo de Monterey, and underneath it Rojo. This is going to be. You've had a couple puffs of it.
Mm-hmm.
Any initial thoughts before we get into the blend?
Very earthy.
Okay.
There's like a dry woodiness to it.
Too dry?
I mean,
are you dehydrated? Are you well hydrated?
No.
Could play into it. All joking aside, it could play into that. Yeah.
No, just medium body. It's got a fair amount of spice on the retrohale though. You're like, really? You're the one who retrohales every puff.
Got it. It does have a little kick to it. That's nice. Yeah.
It feels like the ash is a little flaky.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like the cigar is dried. Because I mean, this cut fine, but it also feels like it's burning a little fast.
Okay. And this is coming out of and I've got a little kind of a wonky burn line there. In all fairness, we've had these in our possession for a little while. This is something that STG had sent us, and with the hiatus, we didn't get around to it. So this was in my like that wineador or whatever, if you will. And the moving process was, what you should do is empty it, safely transport all the cigars. I chose to bear hug it and carry it up a flight of stairs, put it on the back of a moving truck that I drove, and then bear hug it and take it up there.
Okay.
You may have noticed that it's mostly organized, but it was a little bit askew. Partly because of that. So
a little disheveled,
much like me.
Oh,
so I mean, anyways, I would agree with you on a lot of that. I think this has got that woodiness, like you're saying. I don't get as much dryness, but I can kind of gather that. And you've had a couple sips of the featured whiskey. We did try something prior to the show, which was a new one from Uncle Nearest. So we might feature here. Very light, so I didn't think it really affected me. I'm interested to see how it goes with this bottle that we're going to feature here. But yeah, so this one is going to be the wrapper. It's Honduran Yamastran, so that's the region, right? And then you got the Nicaraguan binder, and then filler is Honduran, Nicaraguan, Dominican. So 3-country blend. Probably, I would say maybe Honduran dominant with the wrapper, and I would say probably they don't really get into it, but
tastes very Honduran.
That's what I was going to say. Absolutely. So it's good. This is a medium-bodied cigar. I think that it's something that in Tinder Box at Easton, it hasn't sold as well as the Oscuro. But I think there is a bit more at this price point, and we carried it in 2 of the 3 sizes. There's a Rothschild, there's a Toro, and a Gigante.
Okay.
And the Gigante, for the price, it is surprising. I'm going to see if I can find the actual MSRP. But before I tell you what we sell it for, let's see here. Should have this information. Still a little rusty here, but MSRP
on the one we're smoking.
On the one that we were smoking, the Toro. Guess what the MSRP is. Do you know? Have you sold this one?
I
or the Oscuro?
Yeah, I've recommended it to people that are looking for a certain price point.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say MSRP, so not counting your state's OTP tax or anything else where you live. I'm going to say MSRP is $8.95.
$7.50.
$7.50. All right.
$7.50. It's almost unheard of anymore. That's
yeah.
I wouldn't say it's pushing bundle prices, but it's getting close to it, right? I mean, a bundle price, you can still have the really kind of short filler cigars, but even some of the hand rolled, like more bundle side of things, you're around $5 now on the shelf.
$6,
yeah. So very, very interesting offering from Hoyo de Monterey, where like the Excalibur is a little bit higher than that.
Yeah.
Now like the number one, yeah, you're $12, $13. So on that one. So this is, and it's interesting based on your comments. That's why I was curious what you thought of it. No, it's still hand rolled. Yeah, no, it's still hand rolled, long filler. I mean, yeah, but definitely kind of a lower price point. It reminds me also coming from STG in general. CAO has been coming out with. We had the Fasas, right?
Yeah.
The Fasa Soul and then the Noche coming in at that $8 price point area as well. So the fact that they're able to put out some products with some of the more, I mean, Hoyo de Monterey is definitely an iconic brand. CAO is, I mean, I wouldn't say iconic, but it's definitely a well-known brand. More recent, I guess, iconic
last
brand.
30 years.
Last 30 years. So them coming out with these lower price point, it's nice to see based on what you're seeing on the average prices going up.
Yeah.
We had a company actually notify that they're doing a second price increase already this year. So it's still kind of where we're at, I think, in the world with some of these companies. But these guys are taking some heavy hitters as far as brand names, and I think they're coming out with some lower price point cigars. And I think so. If you have the Gigante, I think it was just like 50 cents to $1 more. So now you have a 6x60 medium body with the Rojo. The Oscuro is a little fuller. It's a medium full, right? Different blend, but I mean that one is going to be coming in still sub $10.
Yeah. And your average price point nowadays is that 12 to 13 price point. So
yeah, I was going to say 11 to 13, but yeah, right in that range for sure. I don't know what Ray Cheshire's saying. That's crazy, unless he's talking about prices, because I'm pretty sure if he's used to the Cuban prices, this is unheard of. Partnering from Marlboro. Yeah, $8. He says $8. I wish.
This one's probably double that.
We know how big of a fan you are of the USA, so come on back, man. If don't, he's got a pretty good thing going on in Vietnam, but
yeah, he does.
But I want to see the comment to that one. Ray, welcome back to listening to the show. I like the cigar, especially for the price point. I think that it does smoke to your. I think it's actually kind of behaving now on you a little bit more. It seems the burn line's leveling out on mine. I didn't relight it. Still a little flaky ash. Okay.
Yeah.
I get that woodiness. I get a little bit of the woodiness. I'd say like more like cedar. So kind of your classic. It's kind of a classic medium body flavor profile.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Nothing too stand out-ish. I like your point about the retro hail for $8, man.
Yeah, I mean,
come on.
This is definitely it's not a cigar to scoff at, especially at that price point. I mean, yeah, Ray's like, no, thank you. He's staying there.
Come back and visit at least. All right. Shoot for March. Take my first sip of this.
All right.
While you're talking.
No, I had never looked up the blend, but you talk about how much Honduran is in it. It makes sense because that's how I feel about a lot of Honduran cigars. Dryness is typically one of the more defining characteristics that I get from it.
Is there a typical, like a certain region or just Honduras?
Just Honduran.
Okay, just in general. Okay.
I mean, just like with a lot of Nicaraguans, you get spice and strength. A lot of Dominicans, kind of mellow, almost creamy like. So, each country's got their own flavor profiles, and then each region beyond that.
Sure.
So, doing a 3-country blend of those, you're trying, I think, to get the best you can and balance everything out together to where there's not one aspect dominating. But I think for me at least, the Honduran sticks out as the most prevalent.
Got it. All right. So this is straight from Hoyo de Monterey, Honduras, right? This is straight from their site. Like to do this with the whiskeys or the spirits. They claim, ready for the tasting notes.
Mm-hmm.
The first one on there.
No, if you have to already get
chewing tobacco. I've never done chew
like Red Man.
Just chewing tobacco.
Okay.
We appreciate
a cigar tastes like tobacco. All right.
No, but specifically chewing tobacco. No brand. Toasted marshmallow. Now there's a flavor profile. That's a flavor note. That's specific.
I think that might be, that
campfire.
That marshmallow that's, caught fire.
All right. It's toasted. The almond de campo. Okay. Molasses. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not really. Yeah.
I don't get that sweetness.
And we're not bashing you, Hoyo de Monterey here, but Saigon cinnamon. Do you know? I mean, you're more into that kind of stuff.
I mean,
I know what cinnamon is, but I don't know what Saigon cinnamon is.
Well, let's take a look.
Saigon is not in outer space.
Jesus Christ.
God.
Also known as Vietnamese cinnamon.
Okay. Ray, are you listening still? I had switched this over.
It's a type of cinnamon prized for its strong, spicy, sweet flavor and high essential oil content.
All right. Greg Hampton, what's up? Ray, if you're listening out there, he says it's my turn to visit them. Yeah, well, you're not wrong. Put this comment up there. Yeah, so the chewing tobacco, I don't get that. I don't know, a company that puts out a cigar and you put out your tasty notes officially, and one of them is tobacco. It seems a little odd. Ray says, when I lived in Honduras, I smoked Hoyo de Monterey all the time. They used to have an Excalibur 1066. That was my favorite at the time. 1066. I assume that would be a part of the Cuban line of Hoyo de Monterey, obviously. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was part of the Honduran line. He didn't really specify here, but it was when he lived in Honduras. But that was a while ago, so I'd assume it. I don't know. I'm going to guess it was the Cuban Hoyo de Monterey. Looking for some clarification there. Yeah, so overall, I like the cigar. Let's check out this whiskey. What do we have here in the glass?
No, the 1066 was the Honduran.
Honduran?
That was that. The Dark Knight.
Oh,
remember that one?
Mm-hmm.
So Cameroon wrapper, Connecticut broadleaf binder.
Interesting. Ray Chester, Saigon is the old name pre-revolution for Ho Chi Minh. So, all right, what we got? Sipping on it, tastes pretty good.
So this is the Blackened Rye the Lighting 2024 edition. So we've had Blackened on the show before.
Okay.
So as a quick refresher, this is the Metallica brand, but you don't ever see Metallica anywhere on the bottle. I think
nowhere.
on the bottom.
Remastered with sonic enhancement.
So that was the thing, you know. So for the regular bourbon, you know, every neck tag had a batch number, and each batch had a different soundtrack that they were playing to the barrels.
To the barrels.
Yes.
No, I know. I'm just so everyone else at home.
Yeah. So you know, and the bourbons have been doing pretty good. They've been getting some better reviews as of late. The gentleman that took over the distilling or the operations for it, Rob Dietrich.
Yep.
He took over after Dave Pickerel, the founder of the brand, passed away.
Mm-hmm.
So the first edition of the Rye the Lighting, which is a play on words from the Metallica song Ride the Lighting, for those that aren't music fans.
I think it would picked up on maybe not the song, but Ride the Lighting.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah.
So 2022 was the first edition of this, and so there's a magazine called Whiskey Advocate.
Mm-hmm.
The same people that do Cigar Aficionado and Wine Spectator.
Mm-hmm.
This was their number 16 whiskey of the top 100 for 2022, the 2022 edition.
The 2024 bottle was
no, the 2022 edition was it was also the only rye in that top 100 list. So it was supposed to be.
What was the list? Whiskeys?
Yes.
And only one rye?
Yep.
Okay.
So lots of bourbons and scotches and Irish and other American whiskeys, probably.
Yeah, add to that panel.
So
I don't like ryes.
So because of the success of it, they decided to do an encore in 2024.
I like how you stopped on encore, like
yep,
because of music.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I got it.
Well, I mean, some
like a concert.
So I did it that way Kyle could keep up.
It's important. As he wears some Crown Head stuff that are all about music. All right.
So yeah, so this is only the second edition they've ever done. This came out last year in 2024. The original edition, they never disclosed the proprietary mash. This is a 95.5, so 95% rye, 5% malted barley. It's aged between 5 and 8 years. And then it is double finished. Once in a rum cask and then once in a Madeira cask. And then blended together. So
they finish.
So you take
part of it, like they're taking parts and they finish part in here, and they do it. So it's not a double finish like sequential. You're talking okay.
So kind of like with the latest Angel's Envy, the triple oak. Yeah. They don't take the distillate and do it in the Chinkapin barrels, the Hungarian barrels, and then the other oak barrel. Like they don't do it 3 times. They break it up and then blend those 3 finished products together. That's what they're doing here with this. So Madeira and rum cask is what this one is 92 proof, whereas the 2022 edition was 90.
Mm-hmm.
So they upped it by 1%. And then this edition is non-chill filtered, whereas the original release was chilled filtered.
Okay. Thank you for all that. It's a lot going on. What was the soundtrack? Just they played Ride the Lighting over and over again.
that would be my guess.
I would just drive the whiskey insane.
Yeah, right.
Same fucking song.
No
great song. I mean, Metallica's great. I mean, I'm not dogging that, but I mean, You're talking months listening to the same. Somehow the whiskey was just beating against the sides of the barrels, which really brings out the oak. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Sound waves on the bottle. I mean, it's it's lighter than I thought.
Yeah,
lighter than I thought it'd be. 91, you said?
92 proof.
The old one was 91.
90.
Okay.
I said it was 1%. It was 45.
1%.
46.
Math's hard. I if I set the cigar down and I take a sip of it, you know what I mean? I'm kind of sticking with the whiskey just for a moment. I get a little more spice from it. I'm making sure that's not from the cigar.
Mm-hmm.
Still lighter. It trying to place that flavor. Say like a darkness.
I know you said that earlier when you were inside. I was like, all right.
Staying away from that. There's like I don't know if it is your classic like rye spice, but I mean it does have a bit of a spice to it.
Yeah, there's a little bit to it, yeah.
But it is a bit lighter. There's a flavor there. And tell me yours, because you might say what I'm thinking, but I can't place the flavor, but it's pretty predominant.
I do get a pretty decent note of vanilla, and then it's got a thicker viscosity, so it's almost creamy to it as well.
There it is. Go ahead.
No, I mean like vanilla cream, like vanilla bean ice cream, or
so yeah, I was gonna say
some cinnamon on top.
I forget what brand. Who makes the red cream soda that sucks? Because I don't like red cream soda. If you're a red cream soda fan, you probably think it's good. Red cream soda.
Fago Red Pop?
Nah, maybe. Dr. Pepper doesn't. A&W cream soda is fantastic. It was always, I mean, like that was like the one, right? I mean, do we agree? I mean, does anyone disagree? Like who? You've never had it. Okay. This is like an off-brand cream soda.
Okay.
Like it kind of has that, you know, like you're waiting for more of the added, you know, corn syrup flavor. You know, like this super sweet, you know, like you keep drinking it. This has like a little bit of more of a dry cream soda flavor to it. That's what I was searching for. When you said that, the vanilla and the creaminess, that's where like it clicked for me. Is like it's not red cream soda, because that's like kicks up the dryness and ick factor for me. For me, this is like, no, it's good, but I'd rather just have an A&W cream soda. You know what I mean? Like this is fine if that's all you have. Probably more like a fresher, like if you go to like the ice cream shops that also have like the some like fresher sodas, you know what I mean? Like they do their own stuff there.
Oh,
almost,
okay.
You know what I'm talking about? Like this is probably what it like. That's what it reminds me of.
Okay.
Like more of like a real cream soda flavor, if that makes sense. I don't know.
Like a soda shop.
Like a soda shop that, you know, this is something that you'd have with, say, vanilla bean ice cream, and you poured cream soda on top of it.
But it had a little bit less of the concentrate in there.
Yeah. A little too much soda water.
Yeah, there you go.
Cheers.
Well,
not for the kids.
What kind of surprised me, so you know,
I think I'm spot on.
So 95.5 rye, and
that's all I can taste now.
Finished in a rum cask. That makes me initially think Angel's Envy rye, which is finished in rum cask. This, you know, just just off the name
on the paper.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now this is not an MGP distillate, even though it is 95.5. This is actually Midwest distillate.
Local to us.
Yes. So all the
Sweet Amber is the bottling
company. Yep.
Sure.
So because people don't have no idea just how much contract work Midwest Spirits does.
They've gotten huge.
Yeah, they're one of the, in terms of volume, I think they're one of the top 10 distilleries in the U.S.
That's wild. And being local to us, I feel like they are, from my vantage point, like third on the list of local distilleries of like their own products that they're pushing out here.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd say that's debatable. I mean, you got, you know, High Bank or Whiskey War, and you have Watershed, but yeah, interesting.
But
Horse Soldier does
that's Midwest as well. Yeah. And then Madeira. So Madeira is, for those who don't know, is a fortified wine that is made on the island of Madeira off the coast of Portugal. There are different styles of Madeira. It can be very sweet, you know, kind of like your dessert wine, like port or like something like that.
Yeah.
Or it can be very, very dry, kind of like an aperitif.
That's what this is. It's got to be.
Yeah. So
it's got to be.
This one, the way Steve described it, makes me think it was, you know, because if they tried to do a sweeter Madeira cask and then the rum cask, that might be too much sweetness.
the A&W, man. Might have, I mean, I don't know if they didn't have the barrels or they tried it and they're like, no, people are going to suck this down because it tastes too good.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, my guess with that one is they may have done one of those drier Madeiras.
I would guess it's tough because again, dealing with 95% rye. I mean, it's gonna taste different if you do the same kind of finishing process with like higher corn content bourbon. Like a 75% corn, regardless of the other 25%, and did all that stuff. It would definitely be a lot sweeter than this, even if you did the Madeira cask that you're talking about. What are your thoughts on it? I mean, like you were saying, vanilla bean, and
so I mean,
I was with the cream soda talk.
No, you're fine. I was expecting, because I had my first sip while you were still inside, and
I noticed that.
I was expecting something heavier. Like I was expecting more sweetness because of the Madeira and the rum cask finish.
Yeah.
92 proof's not necessarily something to scoff at. We definitely drink higher typically, but this was, I mean, it's higher than what we pre-gamed with, but it's not like it's that much. It doesn't really taste that much stronger. It's got more flavor than what we had before the show. But no,
it does. It has a nice body to it. And to your point of the syrup, like the viscosity, I mean, literally, like you guys can't see it at home. Like I took a sip and there's just
legs. It's oily. So it gives you, that's why I'm saying it's like kind of creamy texture on the palate.
Like a vertical line pattern on the glass. Almost like those whiskey glasses.
That's what I was going to say. It would have been camouflage if we'd have drank it with those.
Wouldn't be able to see anything. Love those.
We could have done the green ones with all the green.
Oh, there you go. Love it. So overall, I think it's a solid bottle. I mean, what's the MSRP of this one? Because I'm curious.
You want to take a stab at it?
Can you give us a frame of reference? I think you might know what is in Ohio, so probably close to the MSRP of just the blackened. Is it bourbon or blackened? Just blackened whiskey, right?
Bourbon, I believe.
Bourbon whiskey. Because I think that would frame this a little bit. Because and some may disagree, but I think typically.
Oh no, it is a whiskey. Regular.
So typically the ryes are going to carry a slightly higher price tag. Sometimes a dramatically higher price tag. Angel's Envy being one of them, right? With their two core products. What's the like the normal blackened whiskey?
So currently in the state of Ohio, the blackened whiskey is $49.73.
Okay.
Now, I will say that they have also come out with some collaborations. I think the last one they did was one with Wes Henderson, whose father created Angel's Envy. And then they also did one with Rabbit Hole that was finished in a Calvados cask, and those collaboration ones are like $150.
This is not that.
This is not that.
I'm so normally you're just shy of $50 with a blackened whiskey. Kyle, you want to take a stab at it off mic? Price? Were you paying attention? You texting someone? I feel like you're texting someone. What was the bourbon? What did he say? What was the price? Open book. You were here. He just said it.
The regular whiskey was $49.73.
This is Rye the Lighting 2024. Where do you guess this price point would be? 59. I was going to say 69.
$69.99.
Price is right. I get both showcases. Fuck yeah. I get the boat and the living room furniture. It's always a prize in the showcase that you don't want. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You ever seen the face? I don't watch it anymore, but you see the face of the person that they're like the first one, and like it's not the good one. I think they can pass it, right?
Yeah, the first person can bid or pass.
So it's like you see that person watching it, and it's like there's no car in it.
There's no trip.
It's like the first thing, the things open up, and it's like this lovely dining room furniture set.
Here's
then
a
it's like,
treadmill.
and a treadmill, and
Here's
they
a
try to,
camera.
yeah, you get a garden hose, and yet like they're like the person that's watching the second person that didn't win as much. They're literally like sitting there like they know they're getting this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're
Yeah.
just like this level of disappointment. They're like, there's no car in that. All right, I guess I got to try to go for both. You know what I mean? Yeah, right. Yeah, shit. Should have gotten a gift card in there. But all right,
But if it's the less expensive one and they do win, less taxes they have to pay.
it's true. You like it for $69? Kyle's saying.
A little up there for me, but I'm more cheaper drinker.
Yeah.
Kyle says he's a little bit cheaper of a drinker, so this is a little high on the price, probably top end of the price point for you.
I get it.
I mean, I spent higher.
Yeah. But
This is for a more limited bottle.
I think this is one that if you haven't had it, you see it. Well, especially if you're a fan of the line or whatever, right?
it's still out there on the shelves.
Yeah, but I think we did the Blackened with the Blackened M81, right?
Yep.
I'm glad we didn't do the shade because I think that would have been too light for this. That's even lighter than the Rojo that we're smoking right now. But we've talked about the whole gimmicky side of it, things with this being okay. You played Metallica music to the barrels, like like it is borderline, if not over the line of being too gimmicky for me. But the people behind it is kind of what makes it more legitimate. If you actually start looking at the names behind the project with Pickerel, and then now
Rob Dietrich.
Yeah.
So Rob Dietrich used to be the master distiller at Stranahan's out in Colorado.
Yeah.
He apprenticed under the founder of Tin Cup Whiskey.
Mhm.
He's a veteran of the 10th Mountain Division. Dave Pickerel was a military vet as well. He had been the master distiller at Maker's Mark for like 15 years.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of similarities between those two, which is what we talked about. Like both those guys were music guys, they were car guys. So I think that's why when Dave passed away, like Rob was a great replacement for him.
Yeah, for sure.
And a lot of the Blackens that you see will still say on the bottom remastered by Dave Pickerel, but this one actually says Rob Dietrich on it.
Yeah.
Because the first edition of this in 22, that was his brainchild. Because he learned a lot about finishing when he worked at Stranahan's. That's kind of what gave him the idea to do stuff like this. Like they used to do Solera cask finishing at Stranahan's.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
So
Scottish thing or Scotch thing. The Solera.
Rum. They do the Zacapa 23.
Okay.
That's Solera.
That's where you put the barrels out in the sun, right?
Well, and then like when some of it evaporates off, they put more rum in the barrel.
Okay.
And they just keep doing that over and over.
I always think of Glenfiddich 15. That's the one they do, like the Solera. One of my old, like going back 20 years ago, that was like my daily sipper before I got into bourbons and stuff. Larry asked if you're cold. Larry Jones.
This coming from the guy that wears shorts every day of the year.
It's fair. It's a fair contrast there. All right. This is where we do. If you guys have any questions, obviously I'll put that on the bottom here. If you guys have any questions or comments, put them in the feed. We're on Facebook mainly. We've got a handful of listeners live, which we always appreciate. Last episode, last I looked, it was like 1,400, 1,500 views, something like that. So after, a couple days or day after, actually, it was over 1,000 views. So we appreciate you guys sharing it. But catching us live is great. We do YouTube as well. We try to watch for YouTube live comments, but typically you want to follow us on the Facebook Live. I just saw that Smoke World just approved the post. So we're hoping that some of the admins, if you guys are on any of those pages and you see it after the fact, please reach out to the admins of those pages or so they approve it faster, or just follow us, Bourbon and BS Podcast. We love having you guys on, and we are doing this now for the time being every other week. I don't know if we'll ever go back week to week, but there might be some guests that we want to get on that based on Nate's availability, my availability, we can do some back-to-backs, maybe 2 or 3 in a row. But right now it's every other week, so try to keep track of that. We'll try to do a better job posting that as well. Like I said, right now in 2 weeks, I believe that's April 9th, we will be on with David Welsh from Altadis USA, one of our major sponsors, and we appreciate that. I'm hoping he's got some cool something new. I think he will. He's got his hands on some new stuff. We had talked about doing Possibly, which I have smoked, the Aging Room La Boheme. That's the re-release of that, the Aging Room that Raphael did, and now they're re-releasing it, and it's I enjoyed it, so we'll see. Yeah, so hopefully we'll have it on there. Any questions, comments, put them on the comment feed on Facebook. That's typically what we watch as we're doing it. We try to monitor. You see us looking down at our phones. It's not necessarily for personal use. It's for looking at what you guys are saying, such as what I'll put up there. Comment there. Ray says that asked if you chose the bottle. You said you bought it last year, and Ray says seems a little gimmicky for you.
So,
but as you can see, that's one of the features of the show. If you guys are listening for the first time, as we catch some stuff, we'll try to put it up on the screen if you guys have any comments or questions.
So there's a lot of celebrity brand spirits out there, more so in the tequila world than the whiskey world. And a lot of them get dogged on and trashed, and most of them deserve it. Metallica really hasn't caught that kind of negativity from doing this.
They haven't really been behind it though.
Like you don't see them out there pushing it all the time. You don't see commercials and advertisements. Like, you don't have their name on the bottle or anything like that. So it kind of gets like a lot of people don't even realize that it is theirs. You have to kind of do a little research, very simply, to find it. But no, anyone who knows me knows I do like a good rye whiskey. I like finished ryes as well, or finished bourbons. So knowing that how limited this one was, I was like, all right, yeah, I'll give it a shot and try it out.
Don't defend yourself. It's fine.
I probably won't buy a second.
And that leads into the rating time here. So this is the part of the show that we do the whiskey, the cigar, and the pairing. So best score is 10, and we give 3 different ratings. 1 on the whiskey, 1 on the cigar, and 1 on the pairing. So, Nate, let's start with you based on that comment you just made. May I?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
You don't need to ask. Gosh.
Here we go. Won't buy again is how he led into this segment, folks. I got to remind everyone.
6 on. Well, I'm also trying.
What did we drink last? What did we drink last week?
Oh, the Penelope Toasted.
Yeah, man, we are.
I'm also trying to be a little bit more, because I feel like a little bit more true, because I feel like
it's the true Nate Hale, everyone.
I feel like for a while there, like my starting point on everything was 8, and it either went up or down from there. So I'm trying to get away from that and be a little bit more subjective.
If Blackened or Sweet Amber, whoever's truly like distributing this, right? If they had donated the bottle and they were on the show, would you give it a 6?
Are we ever going to get another one?
You,
because we've had that conversation before in years past.
Well, whatever. I'm asking you an honest question. You're trying to be more honest. If you had James Hetfield sitting in the garage from Metallica, who doesn't have the band's name on it,
I still wouldn't give it a 10.
You give it a 6 in front of him?
I probably wouldn't give it a 6.
Okay. Just seeing what kind of level of honesty we're going to get out of Nate Hale this as we relaunch the podcast.
I'm trying not to get my ass kicked as well.
Okay. I think if people like someone like Aaron who hook us up with Barrel and Still Austin and everything like that, which Still Austin's doing some great things these days.
Those are some great products.
All right, I'm just asking.
I mean, those are damn good bottles.
All right. So, all right, this whiskey you're going to give a 6 even after that comment.
I'd rather spend $5 more and get Angel's Envy rye.
Okay.
Or
is that all it is now?
It's now $74.99. It went down in November, and that's the
fuck happened.
So,
not selling?
Do you want me to go into that in the intermission?
Go. No. Yeah. No. Just.
Yeah, it's now $74.99 instead of $95.99.
Does it taste the same?
It's the exact same thing.
Oh fuck. It was 100.
Yeah, it was $95.99.
Yeah, it was $100. So
and now it's $74.99.
All right, go on. All right, cigar. Are we gonna stick with the whiskey? 6.
6 on the whiskey.
James Hetfield score. is
What do I need not to get it? Not to
He's
have
not
him
gonna.
kick-
He's old. He's not.
He can still swing a
I
guitar.
would love to see him comment all of a sudden, like on YouTube or Facebook, like "You son of a bitch, coming to Columbus."
All right.
Are you touring?
The cigar. I'll give the cigar a 7.
Okay.
It's solid smoke. It's a good cigar for what they're trying to do. Like they're not trying to disguise an $8 cigar as a $15 cigar.
Okay.
They're literally just sitting there going, okay, we're going to put a cigar out on the market that is well below industry averages right now and make it more approachable for more people. You know, price of everything's going up. Let's have something go down.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of those, you know, for the guys that, you know, smoke on a daily basis or, you know, more than just the weekends. Like this is a good cigar to get during the week if you smoke throughout the week.
Cup of coffee cigar.
Yeah, this could go with cup of coffee.
Mm-hmm. Nate's a big coffee guy.
Yes, I am.
Yep. No, I mean these are the things.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I'm trying to remember. They said on the website tequila, I think a porter or a espresso.
Yeah, espresso would work as well.
Yeah.
It's not going to be as bitter as just a straight black coffee.
Yeah.
It's going to be a little bit, or it also depends on the coffee you're using.
No, I know. I'm just more in general there.
Yeah,
you know,
like
so.
the one I'm drinking right now is really light and very acidic. But It's
Mhm.
got a lot of floral notes to it. That would, you know, kind of go well with this.
Depends
'cause
how
it's not gonna
acidic
be-
it is, but yeah.
It's pretty acidic. Pairing, do a 7 on the pairing.
Okay.
I think the dryness of this cigar actually brings out more sweetness on the whiskey that I don't get when I sat there and was focusing solely on the whiskey. I didn't get a whole lot of sweetness. But going cigar to whiskey, I get a little bit more sweetness out of it.
Mm-hmm.
One thing we didn't talk about, Whiskey Advocate's notes on this bottle.
Let's make it quick because all
right. First off, this is just the nose.
God.
Musty oak, sugarless
Hang on a
mint.
second. Go ahead.
Sugarless mint gum,
I'm gonna overpower you on my
cinnamon baked apples.
Saigon cinnamon or
It just says cinnamon baked apples,
God.
vanilla, red hots,
The candy.
Yes, monkey bread, caramel swirl, frosted Cinnabon.
Were we still on the nose?
Yep, and a touch of wood spice. Remember,
How does that make you feel when you read all those notes on the smell?
okay, monkey bread has cinnamon and sugar in it.
Okay, so we're
And you said it's cinnamon baked apples. And then you also said cinnamon caramel swirl. Well, there's your sugar again, and frosted cinnamon or Cinnabon. Like
I feel like they were either
you've got 5 notes for 2 different flavors.
they're either doing this tasting in a mall near a Cinnabon or they had a Bath and Body Works candle going. You know what I mean? Like or maybe one of the smoke odor. Those are great.
Yeah, remember these are the same people that do Cigar Aficionado.
Do we need to go? Is there more? There's going to be what?
The
On
palate.
and the finish.
The cinnamon stays around on the sweet and spiced palate that also reveals flavor of vanilla cream, baked peaches, burnt sugar cookies, hints of candied nuts, and dashes of jalapeno spice
on
the palate.
Yeah.
And then the finish is lengthy with honey and vanilla, sweetened, tempered by oak, or vanilla sweetness tempered by oak, dark espresso, and more cinnamon. See, I was expecting more cinnamon out of this bottle than what I actually taste. I was also expecting more sweetness than what I actually taste.
Is it the adequate amount of on the nose of the monkey bread? Is that like what you were expecting monkey bread wise?
It's been a couple decades since I've had monkey bread.
Ray says, "What the fuck is monkey bread?" I didn't know either.
Google it, Ray.
I thought you were going to say monkey brains, like in Indiana Jones.
Chilled
monkey brains. All right,
your turn.
They have to make their jobs valid at the old Whiskey Advocate for that many notes.
Mm-hmm.
I like how they went from like something like monkey bread and like some specific stuffs, and they're just like in red hots. You know what I mean?
On the nose.
I feel like I
red
want to
hot?
ask
Really?
that judge's mother what his favorite candy was as a child. Red hots.
Oh, that happens.
That's the answer.
That happens to me sometimes when I'm tasting wine. I'm like, yeah, this kind of tastes like banana runs.
That's your favorite.
It was.
God, that makes so much sense because no one likes banana runs. It's like the one that you want to get rid of.
Oh, that was my favorite.
God, you like black licorice?
No.
Okay. Just wanted to see where we're at.
I hate black licorice.
Okay. More normal. Whiskey, I'll give a 7 on this because it is enjoyable. It's easy drinking. Not what I expected by any means, but I enjoy it enough. $69. I think I'm with Nate. I'm not going to restock this on my bar. I wouldn't necessarily not get another bottle. You know what I mean? If it's something I enjoyed it, but for $70, this is not one that as soon as it runs out, I'm like, I got to get back out for the 2024. You know what I mean? This is a fun one to get if you're a fan. If you're a Metallica fan, you're a music fan, I think this is something cool to have on your bar to sip on if you enjoy it. But this is one of those that I think that you may enjoy having on your bar as part of your collection to share with friends coming over that may have not had it or have heard of it. You know what I mean? Some newer whiskey drinkers, or I don't think this is one that you're going to share with like some like really big whiskey enthusiasts. You know what I mean? Like I just don't see it happening.
This is for that person who hasn't yet really dabbled into rye.
Your rye
Doesn't like the spicy ryes. Like, all right, try this.
But this is one like, you know, like before the show, like one of the new neighbors stopped by. I don't know how far they are into like bourbon and whiskeys. You gauge that if they're like big collector, if they're just like, no, I like, not talking down to this but I like, you know, Buffalo Trace products and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So it's like, oh, have you heard of Blackened whiskey? No, I haven't. This is the Blackened rye. You tell them the story. That's, I think, a fun experience to share with people as they're getting into it. So that's why I give it a 7 for overall package.
Knowing that this is distilled by Middle West, I kind of wish it was their pumpernickel rye that was then finished.
Can't touch that one.
That would be so good.
Yeah, they're not going to give that to anyone else.
No.
Cigar, yeah, I'm at that 7.5 with this. This is, and let's do a 7.5 for MSRP $750. I mean, you are getting, but I'm saying you're getting your money's worth for this cigar.
Yeah,
I think this is an accurately priced cigar at $750 or on the shelf $850, depending where you're at, whatever it is. But this is your budget buy. If you like medium cigars, you're getting into cigars, you don't want to spend too much on cigars, this is a great buy for you to have. I think it comes mostly if only in a 10 count box.
Okay.
So this is a box buy for someone that wants to,
for under $100.
For under $100 that you want to get some cigars in your humidor. You just got a new humidor. You need some, like, you know, to fill it up with some cigars without going too crazy. This is a box buy 10, you know, for people that are maybe more well-versed, or they smoke some higher end cigars. And I'm not going like Davidoff or like Padron anniversary. I'm saying like, just, this is a shareable cigar. You're going to a wedding, you're going golfing, you're doing that kind of stuff. I could see, you know, like Nate, if you were like, all right, I'm going out to, I'm going on a camping trip and I want to bring some cigars to the guys. I don't want to necessarily go bundle, but I also don't want to spend a lot of money. This is your cigar right there.
Yeah.
This is medium body. Anyone can smoke it.
Like, I wish.
Well, not even that far, but anyone, like someone that I like mild cigars, they could handle this cigar. And it's a Hoyo de Monterey. It's got great presentation. Again, 10 count box. I think it's got good flavor, and I believe that this is that kind of box buy. The pairing, I'm actually an 8 on the pairing.
Okay.
I think this pairs just fine. I think this is the to your point, or like the Blackened Rye the Lighting 2024. I don't think it's like over punchy. It's not, you know, it's kind of an easy drinker. So you go an easy drinker with an easy smoking cigar. The price points don't necessarily add up necessarily. You know, you got that $750 cigar. I'm thinking like, all right, let's pair this same outing. You know, I got a bunch of friends, you know, that they don't really smoke cigars a whole lot. They like whiskey. They don't really know much about whiskey. This is one that I think that this is like, all right, so I need to find a $30 bottle of whiskey to take with me. That's good, that I know it's good, to go with the 750 cigar. Match the prices up. Flavor wise, though, I think this goes just fine. I really do. It's enjoyable together.
All right.
I'm interested when we get to the day trader,
Mhm.
how that's going to go with it, though, which we'll do on part 2 here. So I do want to thank you guys. Part 1, if you guys are listening, this is going to be something that we do something different. This is going to be, should be fun. I have no idea.
We'll give it a shot.
Nate was going to bring some cards. We've got some cards here that these are, what are they? Questions for the guys.
Well, the name of the brand is Questions for Humans, and then
We are humans.
They have multiple decks depending on the person you are playing the game with. So the ones that I have are Guys Night.
Guys Night, which is typically going to be in the garage on Bourbon and BS podcast night. So, all right, guys, we want to thank you. We want to thank Tinder Box at Easton, Altadis USA, BS Cigar Company for the sponsorship and continuing this going. And also you guys out there, patreon.com/Bourbon BS podcast. Check that out. You guys can contribute monthly if you want to do a one-time contribution. Venmo at Bourbon and BS. Stay tuned. We're going to take a quick intermission. We'll stay live. You guys can step away. We'll be back very quickly here with part 2. And cheers. Happy Whiskey Wednesday. Happy to do this again.
Yeah.
Thank you, Content Kyle. I'd say we're clear. We're still on. I mean,
So, all right. So Angel's Envy Rye.
do you want to keep this live? You want to
Sure.
take us backstage?
Well, it can, be used to inform the audience.
All right. We got 3 minutes.
All right.
Go.
So when Angel's Envy Rye first came into the Ohio market, it was kind of an allocated item. People that liked it were buying it up. You could almost never find it on the shelf. People waiting in line.
Yep.
It was gone before you got to the store sometimes. So distributor kept kind of upping the price a little bit. It even got close to the same price at the distillery. For a while, it had been sitting on the shelves in Ohio at $95.99 retail. And sales were lackluster, to say the least.
We found it for $5 cheaper down at Angel's Envy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. So back in November, the distributor decided to drop the price that they charge the state or that they charge OHLQ for the bottle, which made the new price on the shelves at $74.99. So a $21 drop in price.
It's huge.
It is. So the purpose of that was they wanted to see, is there still a demand for the product and we just priced ourselves too high, or does no one actually want this anymore?
What's your thought real quick on that?
I thought the price was too high because there are people that love the Angel's Envy Rye, but the price keeps them from drinking it because then they have to get another one.
Combine that with more competition.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think it's a twofold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they dropped the price, and as soon as the price dropped back in November, sales spiked. And
I didn't know that. That's the thing. I didn't know that.
It's still been going strong
Okay.
with that price drop. And so we then were told at the beginning of this year that the distributor intends to keep it where it's at going forward.
Got it.
Because they have realized there actually is a demand for the product. They just price themselves out of the market. So,
and at that time, even that was shortly thereafter that Angel's Envy bourbon, the finished bourbon, finished whiskey,
it's bourbon.
finished bourbon was hard to find.
Yeah.
Like that was in the realm of the Buffalo Trace products at one point.
Yep.
Then all of a sudden it started showing up. They had enough supply and all that stuff.
And and at our store, regular Angel's Envy, that's one of our best sellers. Our rep will come in several times a year and do a bottle engraving session. So he'll come in for 3 or 4 hours. You buy the bottle, he laser engraves it for free.
Yeah.
And last year, I think the Sunday before Christmas, he did like 90 bottles, which is the most he'd ever done.
They get out, and that's good to see.
And then last
People
year,
like to buy from people they like. We talked about that, right?
and last year they came out with the triple oak,
Mhm.
which is not as oaky as what a lot of people were expecting.
Yeah, it's a bad name for that.
Yeah, and it's
Makes sense, but
it's
bad name.
$64.99. But that's a really good bottle.
Have not had it yet. Looking forward to it. All right, let's get to part 2. Ready?
All right.
You got all your cards loaded up here. You read these that she sent you?
Mhm.
All right, I have not, so we'll see where it goes. Freddie Burt, welcome back to watching here. Willet Rye and Purple Tops are all way overpriced, and I've seen a lot of them sitting $400 for a 9-year rye is crazy. Yeah, I mean, like, again, we'll see what the market does here. I think we're capping out here.
Yeah, when we had that bonus drop a few weeks back, the 7-year Willet Rye at like $180 was the last, or no, it was the second last thing to sell out.
Is Jess listening?
I don't think so.
All right, because as soon as I said that, it says Kristen Flock is watching again. So we'll see what happens. Question for the guys. Let's keep it clean, everyone.
All right.
Be honest. It's honest Nate again, he said. And again, please share, like, comment, review, and subscribe on all the formats you enjoy listening to our show. Tell your friends. Part 2.
All right.
Wait.
Oh.
Welcome back to the Bourbon BS podcast, everyone. This is episode 331. I am being quick here because Nate is ready to ask some questions for the guys. Want to thank our sponsors. I'll be rapid fire on these as well. First and foremost, you guys, patreon.com/bourbonbs podcast for the continuing monthly contributions to the show. If you guys want to do a one-time contribution, want to buy us a bottle, but just throw us a couple bucks, whatever. Helps us out. Keep this thing going. Venmo at Bourbon and BS. Appreciate all you guys supporting. But most importantly, we appreciate you guys sharing, liking, commenting, and reviewing, and also subscribing to the show. I want to thank our sponsors, Tinder Box at Easton, Columbus, Ohio. We have the Hoyo de Monterey Rojo we are finishing right now. Next up, we do carry also Tinder Box at Easton, H. Upman Banker, the day trader, which is also made by Altadis USA, which is the next sponsor. I'm not trying to act annoyed by this. I'm trying to get to the questions here. But Altadis USA, David Welsh is going to be on next episode 2 weeks from now. And we're going to have something hopefully brand new from them. But they have some great brands. Monte Cristo, Romeo Julieta, H. Upman, as we just mentioned, Aging Room, among other brands. And thank you to BS Cigar Company. The gold and silver are available now. Gold is made by Placencia, and the silver is made by Espinosa. Eric Espinosa made a splash once again at the Smoking Tent event 2025 at the Tinder Box. All of this is very much cyclical here and all feeds into the other sponsors. So we appreciate all of that and you guys. So without further ado, this is part 2. We go off the beaten path of most bourbon cigar podcasts.
Yeah.
And we do something different every week, typically a life topic. If you guys ever have anything you want us to talk about, include you guys, or if we have a special guest that week, put it on the Bourbon and BS podcast page or the Bourbon and BS community page on Facebook, or just reach out to us at bourbonandbspodcast@gmail.com. One of our personal pages. Go.
Yeah.
A lot of business to get
All
through
right.
here. All right.
All right. First one. We're starting off light.
And I'm not going to answer all of them first, but I'll take the first one.
All right.
I feel put on the spot. Now you're going to pick a certain one.
What are the funniest movies of all time?
Jeez. Funniest movies of all time. Schindler's List, obviously.
Jeez.
No. You got to keep it light.
And I think we just
Very-
cancel.
Very bad joke. That's a phenomenal movie. I thought of
It's a great.
I tried to on this. That was pretty quick. The least funniest movie
yeah,
I could
exactly.
pick. I have not read these. I didn't know that was knee jerk.
Shit.
Let's just rattle the cage a little bit. Funniest movies ever, not Schindler's List. Great film.
Oh yeah.
Not many funny parts.
None.
No, but not many. I mean 0. Oh, jeez. Getting some comments here. Tim Dodge, I'll bring you up here. Funniest movies of all time. It's funny. I can come out with like the absolute not funniest movie.
But then,
But you put me on the spot. I can't think of it.
ooh,
How many? Just one, and we'll rattle it back and forth, right? Funniest movie of all time. Ooh. It's probably not, but I don't know why it's coming to. It's my generation, probably, but like Tommy Boy.
Okay,
I mean, it's just.
that is a good one.
I was born in 1980. You know, it came out.
90s.
Yeah, 90s. Chris Farley was huge, not just physically, but he was huge.
Oh yeah.
That was probably peak Chris Farley, and he was just a dynamic comedian in that. I don't know why that came to mind, but that is a quotable movie. I mean, think in quotable movies, you know, you got Caddyshack.
That
you got,
was going to be my
you're gonna-
first. Was Caddyshack.
yeah.
Caddyshack was going to be my first one.
That's tough, you know. We got some good ones though. Tim Dodge coming up with Tim Dodge. Let me put it up on the screen. The first one. He's going different generations here.
yeah.
Bachelor Party with
yeah.
Tom Hanks. That's a good one.
That is a good one. That's a lesser known Tom Hanks movie, I believe.
It was earlier.
It was very early in his career. Yeah.
Earlier.
He also said Step Brothers. I was not a big Step Brothers.
Huge fan of that one.
I love The Other Guys.
So
And that's the thing. I'm not a Will Ferrell fan, but The Other Guys
Cool.
I thought was fantastic.
the two of them, Will
Aim for the
Ferrell and Mark
bushes.
Wahlberg. Other guys,
watch that in
probably
theater.
up there. Even Daddy's Home with those two, and Daddy's Home 2 were funny.
Never watched them.
You'd enjoy it
Okay.
based on that because it's similar dynamic between the two actors. Very funny, very funny. And I will say, Daddy's Home 2 is a good Christmas movie.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Just rapid fire. Anyone else have any suggestions? Just throw them up there. Funniest movies. No, I'm thinking about that.
Yeah, Caddyshack was definitely one of the first ones that came to my mind. You talk about quotable.
Absolutely.
If you want to go kind of that same, if you want to go different sense of humor style, but kind of that same generation,
This makes sense.
you go Monty Python.
Boom.
Ha!
It's on the screen.
I wasn't gonna say Life of Brian.
Which one do you like? Holy Grail?
Holy Grail.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of comedies.
Oh,
Say this.
okay, since we're
Yeah. I was about to say this is the perfect segue into what I was. There's a lot of comedies that we all love that are hilarious that over the last 5 years you couldn't make anymore. Tim Dodge,
Blazing Saddles. That's exactly what I was thinking. Blazing Saddles, Spaceballs.
any Mel Brooks movie, basically, is what we're talking about here. I don't like that either. There we go. I like that.
Yeah, make it bigger. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, Blazing Saddles. I was married to Jess the first time I ever watched that movie. You're talking, within the last 15
It was made well before that.
Yes, it was made well before that, but you're talking within the last 15 years was the first time I ever saw that movie. And
Were you offended?
no, I
feel
was
like you were
laughing my ass off and sitting there going, holy shit, they actually made a movie like this. And then come to find out that the one character was originally written by and supposed to be played. His name just black comedian.
Yeah.
Richard Pryor.
Richard Pryor.
Yeah.
But he was having some issues.
I think he was committed to another project.
I think it was drugs.
That could be.
That was the
Like I said, he was
project.
committed to another.
He was committed.
Oh, which that makes me think the movie The Toy, again, hilarious for the time, could not remake that now.
It's funny. So Kristen says Office Space and Something About Mary. Absolutely agree.
So
Farrelly Brothers had some hits.
I do like Office Space. It makes Jess uncomfortable to watch it
Just because she was in that life at some point.
because she feels so bad for Milton. It's uncomfortable for her to watch that movie.
But he ends up being not the hero,
I know.
but he feels justified by spoiler alert,
You're way past that.
burning the building down.
Yeah.
Because of his stapler. He was mistreated. He wasn't
Yes.
paid anymore.
Yep.
But, Lumberg was kind of an asshole. So I get it.
The original Dumb and
That
Dumber.
was a villain.
Yeah.
Lumberg was a villain.
I dressed up for him at a Halloween party at
Lumberg?
AEP. Yep.
Probably. No one liked you. No, always at the party. Something About Mary, love it. Very quotable as well.
I don't know that I ever watched that all the way through.
My favorite character in that was probably Matt Dillon. His character had some great lines, just the back and forth, the whole scene. When he says he works with handicapped people, but he totally just says it wrong. He's trying to impress Mary, played by Cameron Diaz.
Yeah.
I'm gonna butcher it, but it's just like, she's like, "Oh, what do you do?" He's like, "I work with retards." Like that's something like, and it's funny. Ray says like nothing since 1990. It's like, no, pump that up a little bit to about 2014, 2019.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, it's anyways." We got this one kid, Mongo, forehead like a drive-in movie theater. But he's good people and whatever. He said, used to keep him in a cage. And she's like, "That's bullshit." He's like, "That's what I said." He's like totally just riffing on this thing. He's like, "So we got him a leash with like a line. He could run and dig and all that stuff." And it's just, you need to watch it. If you like Farrelly Brothers movies, it's hilarious. But it is, and I apologize. I butchered that, but fantastic. Fantastic movie. Couldn't make it again. Brett Favre is in it as well. So you know a little bit about it.
I know a little bit about it,
All
but
right.
if I watched it right now, it'd be almost like watching it for the first time. Yeah, Tim Dodge just said Spaceballs. I said that earlier.
All right, next question. Let's keep this rolling. That's a good one. I like that. Took a little while to get into this. All
what rom-com
Now we're on movies.
actually isn't too bad?
So I'm a rom-com guy, man. I like some chick flicks.
I'm gonna go Four Christmases.
So that's a Christmas movie for me. That's not a rom-com, but I can see where you're coming from. That's a great movie. Rom-com. 10 Things I Hate About You. Chick flick rom-com.
Been a while. Okay.
Great movie. Heath Ledger, R.I.P.
It makes me think of one time we had Ryan Newman on the show, and we mentioned someone, and Ryan goes, "R.I.P." And I just looked at him. He goes, "He's not dead. Just rest in." Like, what the fuck? Why would you?
I don't think that means what you think it means. So what was it? Just best rom-com that's actually good?
What rom-com isn't actually too bad?
There's a lot of them.
So none of the Hallmark movies, probably, because those are
I can't comment on that because
those are 51st dates. All right.
Yeah. So we got How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. Great. What's the other one with Matthew McConaughey where he lives with his parents?
Failure to Launch.
Failure to Launch. Matthew McConaughey
Never watched it.
It was pretty good. Terry Bradshaw's great in it. So he did those movies. He even says like to launch
so
the
now
other
he can do what he wants to do. When
51st Dates. That's a good one.
You've got
Chris
Mail.
is just rolling with them. You've got Mail. That's a classic.
Sleepless
The
in
Holiday. Sleepless. Yeah, that's a good one too. Tom Hanks.
Although I saw a video the other day, if you notice, like a lot of the popular like rom-coms, like Sleepless in Seattle or You've Got Mail, it's like every single one of them is cheating. Like there's always a character in that movie that's cheating. It's like, ooh.
Love's complicated, but yeah, I mean, she says The Holiday also very good.
I think just
also,
like that one.
That's kind of like Four Christmases. That's more of a Christmas movie for me, but I can see that it's both. You know what I mean?
What's the next one? And Harry Met Sally.
Just bringing up some classics.
I never watched that one. I know the famous scene in it, but
you know, get you some rom-com movies. I'm trying to think of some other ones. It's a tough one. These are tough ones when you get put on the spot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I'm a big rom-com chick flick fan. I mean, I know I really like exude that, but I do like them.
You're showing your sensitive side.
Yeah.
Romancing the Stone. There's a classic.
Going back.
That was one of those, like, yes, rom-com, but it also had a good amount of action in it as well.
I think Fight Club was a good one too.
No.
With the narrator and no.
I don't even like Fight Club.
Love that movie.
I know.
Good book too.
So I'm one of those that if you follow the Facebook page Looper, it's all movie stuff.
Okay.
And they'll sit there and say, what's your, what do you think's the worst of this category or the best of this category, or what do you think is a movie that's overrated?
Sure.
For me,
Fight Club.
Fight Club for me is overrated. So is Departed.
You will never, if we ever do it again, you're never invited back to Southie Movie Marathon.
I've told you that before, though.
Oh my God. What a classic. Not quite a rom-com.
16 Candles.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of those 80s movies, right? You know? Absolutely. All right. Next question.
How long would you last alone in the wild?
Not long for me. You're definitely going to last longer. Yeah. No. I would like to say I would adapt, but no. I mean, if you're just randomly just plop down there, you know what I mean? You have at least one firearm. Like I have none. But like if you weren't prepared for it, you were just literally like on a plane. Well, yeah, no firearm. So if you're on a plane, Lost style.
Oh.
You know what I mean? And you're in the wild and you got nothing. I mean, I was a Cub Scout. So I think I could do a little bit, but I'd probably eat the wrong berries and die. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I am, fortunately for my sake, I'm a suburban first world person, and it's been a good streak so far. So I don't think I would last too long.
Kristen asks, "Is there a beach?" Yes, but there's not it's not an all-inclusive. That's not the wild.
If you found an all-inclusive, I think you might be all right. If they could look up your credit card number. Tim Dash says, I'm good for months. Again, I think he's good, but I think it's that when you're just plopped down into, the wild, it's without preparation.
Yeah.
It's not like prepping, like I'm going to go out and
no go bag or anything.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Like I like the scenario of like the Lost situation where it's like your luggage is gone. You weren't prepared for it. You're flying to Des Moines, Iowa, and it got rerouted and you ended up in the jungle somewhere.
Give myself a week.
I'd give you a week. I'd give you a week and then someone would find you. I mean, it depends on how wild we're talking about.
Yeah.
Ray says, what's the question? How long would you last in the wild?
Alone.
I probably, and it's, again, depends on where the wild is and how wild it is. I think my first survival skill would be to try to start a fire, which is bad in a lot of ways, but start a fire to create smoke and then just fucking pray that the people that find me are not like
cannibals,
like an Aborigine, tribe that are cannibals.
Yeah,
absolutely. Beat me to it. But it's like, good. Hopefully someone with like a chopper would come over and it's like, an ally.
There was a movie I watched recently, and I wanted to watch it because a certain actor was in the movie. But basically, you have a father raising his daughter out in the wilds, out in the woods. At this point, I think she's just becoming a teenager, maybe. And they get like a civilian spots them, and turns out they're actually living in like a wooded area just outside a major city.
You talking about the village?
No, not the village.
Because that's like similar.
No.
It's just outdated. Not the
it was literally just a father and daughter. And he was a military vet and
by choice he was doing that.
Yes.
Sounds like a sociology experiment.
Yeah, he ends up getting his daughter taken away from him.
It's irresponsible. I mean, okay, go ahead.
All right, next one. What does true success look like to you?
Nate, go ahead. Said I'm not going to answer him all first.
Happy at career, happy at home, like good home life. Like I think having a really good, healthy home life makes a lot of the other stuff easier.
That's right.
So that's, kind of like that primary circle. Like if you can start there, if you've got that taken care of, like it helps make some of the other areas in your life better. If things are good at home, you're more confident outside the home at work and stuff like that. And so good home life, and then also feeling fulfilled with your work, unless you're retired, feel good about retirement. But
there's a career behind it too,
yeah,
though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A career that then by the time you get to that point in life, you can retire and, live out your days and, do the stuff that you want to do, like, with the people that matter to you.
Read the question one more time.
What does true success look like to you?
For me, it starts in the morning. True success for me, it starts in the morning, and it is a level of happiness and contentment, but it also a little bit of like the drive there. But are you on the right path? I think health really, we've had these full blown part twos before about this, but I think it does have something to do with, you start with yourself, you start with your health, and you make sure that you are taking care of yourself first, and then you work your way out from there. I think your answer is absolutely great and valid, but I think that it starts in the morning, and you take a basis judgment there, I think, of, are you happy with what you're waking up with, yourself, your surroundings, and everything else? And then you try to work off of that. And it's easy to say what your 5-year plan is and all of that stuff, and like, are you happy with your past and everything like that? But I think more often than not, it's about now and going forward, and I think everything builds off of it. But for me, true success is, are you on the right path? Because I think everyone's on a different path. For me right now, I mean, personally, I think there's a lot of success in my life right now that isn't necessarily based on certain factors that some people look at all the time. But waking up every morning right now, I like where my life is and where my life is going, and I hope that it can continue on that path. And it's all about, for me, is, are you, what I just said, and are you in a sense ready that if you need to sidestep, or if you need to adapt to something that's thrown at you, whether it be a health issue for you, health issue for someone else, financial issue for you, financial issue for someone else is important to you, but it's something that, are you on the right path? That's success for me.
All right. I think Ray said success is different for everyone, which is what makes it so elusive.
Can be.
Yeah. Well, again, to what Steve said, depends on what your goals are. Like, what is it that you want? We all want different things, or have different aspirations. So yeah. All right.
There's a more serious question.
I'm just going in the order that they were flipped over.
Got it.
Next one, I don't know if it applies too much to you, because you have such a short commute to work.
Okay, let's go.
If you could travel to work by any means of transportation, how would you get there?
Teleportation. Is that a valid answer?
It is a valid answer.
Okay.
Yeah. Why? Why teleportation?
Just because I'm there.
All right.
Take a little extra time in the morning at home.
Sleep in a little bit, but then again, that's what, like, your drive is what, 5 minutes?
Yeah. I mean, that's also a question that depends on how long the commute is, right? I mean,
yeah.
I've had nothing crazy. Again, living in Columbus, I think my longest commute was when I lived over on this side of town, and I lived or worked over near you in Hilliard, and it was like a 25-30-minute commute. A car with a good sound system, heated seats, heated steering wheel, cooling seats if you could in the summer. My 06 Cadillac DTS had massaging seats. That doesn't hurt. And a sunroof so you can smoke a cigar.
There you go.
Not bad.
That's
for a driving commute.
Yeah.
Even in traffic, it's kind of like, oh no, I have to sit here longer in a comfortable car with
a cigar going and
with my back being massaged and what I want to listen to on this Bose system. You know what I mean? Like that was one of those things. Like a longer one, I mean, yeah, like a private transportation was not bad either, but
like if you were chauffeured around.
Chauffeured, or if it, helicopter would be nice if you had to go, like in a big city.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't think Tinder Box really has that in the budget, but
No, I know.
If Uber ever gets there and they have coupons, I'll do that.
Uber Elite right there.
Promo code helicopter. This helicopter ride only costs you $10,000. Damn it! Aaron Hall also says teleportation, so you don't have to pay for parking. All right. To dig on Easton, I agree with you there.
So I was gonna say, fly like Superman.
So
Just pop up in the air and just beeline it straight there.
I didn't know superpowers were on the table.
It said,
I like that.
I mean,
teleportation.
You said teleportation.
I was thinking like Star Trek style.
Oh,
I wasn't thinking like superpower style. Okay.
All right, misunderstood that one.
Ray says definitely not Cadillac. All right. Yeah. Says the guy with a Porsche that probably didn't even have heated seats, and it's like can't go very fast when there's some car ahead of you. Sit in that little sports car.
No, it'd be nice to be able to fly like Superman and just, oh, hey, you guys enjoying traffic down there? Cool. Still get to see the sunrise or sunset coming back home.
He goes pretty fast too. So I mean, yeah, Superman powers. There's a lot of positives there if you're going to enter that into the conversation.
Yeah, I mean, it would be nice if every time I had to drive to work, give me a really nice sports car and no traffic on the road. That could be fun.
I didn't know you can control outside factors.
I get it. I'm elaborating, but like that could make driving to work fun.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, when I used to be a cigar rep, gosh, teleportation, Star Trek style, that would have had to come in handy.
You could hit a lot more accounts, that's for sure.
6-hour trip to Chicago. Fuck that. I'm there now. I don't need to leave home at 8:00 in the morning.
Those windmills are so majestic.
The creepy windmill farm, as Jess calls them.
Yeah. Driving through that area when you're tired is tired.
When I was driving back from Chicago interviewing for that job, we were driving back and there was a major thunderstorm that was coming through. I couldn't see shit.
Mm-hmm.
I tried pulling underneath an overpass and we were still getting hammered. There was hail and and I was like, all right, this isn't any safer. Just pulled over to the shoulder under an overpass. I'm just going to drive. And then the next exit that has a hotel, I don't care what hotel it is, we're staying there. And that motel, it was a Super 8. Super 8.
It's an upgrade from the Motel 6 there.
They had a room. The lady was sympathetic. She gave us a AAA member discount.
Nice.
We weren't AAA members.
Nice.
And turns out we woke up the next morning, come to find out a tornado rolled through and we were on the tail south end of the windmill farm and never saw it until we woke up the next morning. So to be able to just sit there and go, fuck that, and just
How was the continental breakfast? Was it pretty good?
For the time, it was for what we had gone through. It was good.
Yeah. Private jet between Hong Kong and Sri Lanka, and I'm just waiting for this one follow up. Yeah, private jets for work. I think some people are in different tax brackets than we are there. Just one massaging seat. I thought that was asking for a lot,
Yeah. Well, I remember sometimes when I was at AEP, we'd have the big summer party out in our office in Chicago, and you hear a lot of the executives are going out there like, "Oh, can we take the jet?" I'm like, no, you guys are all flying on Southwest. they're taking the jet. It's like, damn it.
Oh, I'm getting flown out there on the company dime. How cool.
Yeah. And then I got to ride the orange line down to downtown from Midway.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. All right.
All right.
Have you ever had a run-in with the law?
Running how? Just in general?
That-
I mean,
So, like, I know one of your stories, but like with me, all of mine were like I
when I got
was.
pulled over,
Yes.
Yeah. we're nice policemen.
Yes. All of my run-ins with the law were like the complaining party or a witness. Like,
Yeah. Running, yeah, it's been pulled over a couple times. One was because the back bumper of the 79 Lincoln had fallen off weeks earlier, and so they pulled us over in Westerville because you weren't allowed to drive without a bumper. Bumper was scheduled, is what I told them, to be put back on. Plus, it was a 20-foot car. Like, what was going to happen? No one's going to be
only
hurt.
20 feet.
19.7 feet was, if I remember. The bumper fell off. There's another story about that with my
So
grandma. I think I told you
knocked it
about
down
that
to 19.5.
Steel bumper does help, but pretty sure the trunk would have held on. The other time was, I told you, and I was fine. It was just, they followed me from the classics bar after a softball thing. Actually, it was before softball or whatever, and literally ended up. It's the only time I've been pulled out of a car, but luckily I was not inebriated to the point that I technically probably
Displayed symptoms.
Yeah, I technically shouldn't have been driving. That was the one time I was pulled over, and thank God. I mean, again, it was one of those things where I was coherent. I was, fine enough, and they were like, "Yeah, just all right. Where's your address?" And it was, just past this house, actually. You know what I mean? And they're like, "All right, just get home safely." So it was not to a point where I was like bad. That was my probably 2 run-ins with the law, I think.
Yeah,
being at a couple of parties that the cops were called on. That was about it.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're pretty vanilla here. Anyone else have a better story?
Oh, I'm sure some of them do.
Waiting for you guys out there. Running with law. Ray, I feel like, has some. I don't know. But yeah, we are not the 2 people to ask about that. Surprisingly, as we do a bourbon podcast.
Well, I remember when I was in high school, I got chosen to be a DARE representative to the elementary school.
Is that still a program?
Probably is. And there were four of us that were going to be driven from the high school to the elementary school to go talk to some elementary students about the DARE program.
Yeah.
And so a sheriff's deputy showed up, and the 4 of us got put in the back seat of a cruiser.
Yeah.
You had the one girl who's 4'11" laying across the 3 of us. Because you had me, you had a 6'3" basketball player, you had
Sounds like irresponsible cops at this point.
you had the high school class, or our senior class president, and then you had Shay. She's laying down across us to go around the block to the elementary school. So here's
it's not really running with the law.
I know.
The only time you're in the back of a cop car, maybe.
But the looks we got when we got out of the back of a sheriff's deputy in front of an elementary school.
Those were the girl laying across 3 dudes' laps.
No, 2 dudes, and there were 2 guys, 2 girls.
Okay.
Yeah.
Makes it better. Makes it better. Tim Dodge, we're not going to get into this. 3 arrests, 0 convictions. Congratulations. It's exciting.
It's a good win percentage.
Yeah. Kristen says, "No, I'm an angel. I feel like she is smart enough that she never was dealing with a run-in with cops, even in college."
There you go.
What else we got?
All right. What's the worst date you've ever been on? Junior prom.
Junior prom. All right. Go ahead.
So my girlfriend at the time, she went to Westerville.
Like Westerville, what?
Westerville High School. Or was it Westerville?
Well, there's south. You're not that old. There's either south or north when you were that age.
Something west. Like, anyway.
Okay.
And I went to her prom, which was held at the Hilton at Easton.
Okay. Nice
And
prom.
and her parents dropped us off, and they picked us up and drove us home as well. And um, she did not want to dance when there were any fast songs on, because so I was never one of the guys out on the floor bump and grind. You know,
Okay.
that was not my style.
So
Obviously,
we still use that. We still use that term. Is
well, that was the term when I was in high
that bump
school.
and grind.
That was a term when I was in high school.
Okay.
I wasn't like that. Neither was she. But she didn't want to be
You
on
were
the
neither
dance
a
floor.
bumper nor a grinder, for the record.
There you go.
Nate Hale.
And so she didn't want to dance almost at all. And then any of the slow songs. And again, we were already boyfriend, girlfriend. We've been dating for a couple months.
That's fast.
All the slow songs, it was the traditional like 2 hands on the hip,
Yeah,
arms length apart kind of thing.
Leave some room for the Holy Spirit.
Yeah. and I remember, riding in the back seat of her parents' car on the way home. Both of her parents picked us up.
Oh God.
And they're just like, "Hey, how was it?" And I was like, "Fine."
What did she say?
Oh, she didn't say a damn thing, I don't think.
Oh, they thought that something happened. If you said fine, she said nothing, they think that something happened and you were the asshole.
I mean,
that's what the parents would think.
I literally had the conversation with her father the next Sunday in church, and was like, "Yeah, here's what happened. Like,
She didn't bump or grind with me.
No,
you didn't say that.
No, I didn't.
Got it. Okay.
I was like, yeah, she just didn't want to be. It felt like she didn't want to be there, and like she did not want to have fun. I wanted to have fun, but we were both church kids, so we were both going to be,
not bumping and grinding.
Yes. I was like, how do I phrase that? I mean, none of us had any some prom expectations that are out there. So
Ian and Sheehan.
But I was like, yeah, your daughter just completely ignored me most of the time and just didn't want to talk. Only talked to her friends, and we just sat at the table.
Did he bring up this conversation, or did you bring up this conversation?
He brought it up.
Okay.
So it was over shortly after that.
Didn't work out, huh?
No, it didn't work out. Never mind. I'm gonna stop talking about that one.
Okay.
Let's just say in the long term, I definitely won out.
Dodge the bullet, we call that.
Fuck yes.
The worst date, I didn't date much over the years, you know what I mean? Like, honestly, I just didn't. It was more of a like a relationship guy type thing. Didn't really just go out on dates, didn't really do the, your thing. I wasn't a big bumping and grinding guy either. Just in life.
I was the guy standing against the wall.
Okay.
During the dances, or I volunteered.
Even if you were with your girlfriend?
I didn't have a girlfriend during most of
saying
my school dances. So I was the guy volunteered to help make the popcorn.
Everyone loves popcorn. I mean, that's a nice
or when the girls' boyfriends would go to the bathroom, they would then ask me to dance. Like, hey, I love this song. Nate, come dance with me. No, not you. I know your reputation around this school.
Sounds terrible. No, there was a short period, and I've talked to Kristen about this even. That's when we first met. She was asking me about the dating scene, online dating. Absolutely terrible. But the few dates I went on, they were never really terrible. It was just kind of didn't really feel it or whatever. You know what I mean? Like you go to just whatever, like the brewery around here, you do what like people do on first dates, socially, where it's not really like involved. And so it was just kind of like you didn't. That was probably my worst. It's like didn't really feel it, but then you're there. You got to like kind of hang out for an hour or whatever. Like you don't want to just be like you walk in, you're like 5 minutes in, you're like, all right, nope, don't feel it. See you later. It's not like speed dating. So I mean, that was probably for me.
Next.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like that was probably my worst that I can think of is like actually like worst dates I've been on. It was just like ones that the very few I wasn't feeling, and so it was just kind of like, all right, well, I'll just kind of hang out here and make some small talk, and at the end of it, you're like, oh, this is really great. Like that, it was great meeting you, or it's like I remember one nice girl, but it's like all she did was talk about her ex, and you're just like, Oh yeah, no, I understand. You know what I mean? Like it was one of those. It was just like nothing severe, like
Yeah.
you know, just threw up all over the place. I mean, like there's no like horror stories for me. But again, there's very limited dating type things for me.
Yeah.
It was just like, yeah, it's just yeah, not really into it. Again,
Although this kind of makes me want to ask the advert, the flip side of it, like what's like one of the best or two of the best dates. I know one of the early dates Jess and I went on, we went to the Book Loft
I remember the story,
in German Village. So for those not familiar,
Ray. God, look at this comment. Jesus Christ.
oof,
Ray, I said I was more a relationship guy. Jesus, like it was like it's just I'm not.
you had a great personality. All right. That was me.
Doing fine now. Thanks, Ray.
There you go.
Love you, Kristen.
No, one of Jess and I's earlier dates, we went to the Book Loft, which is this old house in German Village here in Columbus. And it's a bookstore. It's been a bookstore for a very long time. Hallways are very narrow. There's maps everywhere because it's so easy to get lost in.
In the book loft?
Yes.
Sounds like a escape room.
Almost.
Okay.
And for a while we were like, we would actually be sitting on the floor reading like some of the
In the same room, or you got to find each other?
The Chuck Norris joke books.
Oh yeah, I remember this.
And so
So you were like reading a corn maze.
So like we ended up buying like 3 or 4 of the Chuck Norris joke books, and then went to Cup of Joe right next door.
You still have those books?
Yes.
Nice.
Yes. So
True
there's
love,
like
everyone.
there's
True
like
love.
3 Chuck Norris joke books, and then there's Chuck Norris versus Mr. T, which is the same thing, but now it's both of them.
Now, Mr. T is no Chuck Norris.
Yeah, but they were hilarious.
All right.
I think one of my favorites was Mr. T once beat Chuck Norris in a fight. So in retaliation, Chuck Norris invented racism.
Let's wait for the comments to come in.
So we're at Cup of Joe. We each got a cup of coffee. And
wait a second. What?
So we got some of the books. We went next door to Cup of Joe.
Who was that written by?
I forget the guy's name.
Yeah, he's probably.
You could easily look it up. He's probably very rich by now. Those books sold very well. And
so Chuck Norris invented racism
because Mr. T.
No, I know he's
because
black.
Mr. T beat him in a game of tic-tac-toe. That's what it was.
That's doesn't make it. Wow. Even me, like that's just like, oof. Wow.
So kind of that reaction. Jess and I are at the coffee shop, and we're sitting across from each other. I'm just reading through some of these, and I'm reading quietly, and the two of us are quietly laughing our heads off. And meanwhile, there's this little 20-something next to us.
Right, we're at the book loft,
and
talking about Chuck Norris invented racism.
You can tell that this 20-something next to us is so offended. Just like I can
Did you say that joke out loud?
I don't think I got to that one.
Okay.
But looking at like the stickers on her laptop and what she looked like she was very offended for some of the stuff in this book. Meanwhile, the two of us are just laughing our asses off.
Yeah, no, it sounds offensive. Today, that would be even more offensive to a big crowd. I know this is like a thing to say, but best first date was
didn't say first date.
Well, I thought you said.
Well, because the previous question was, what's the worst date you've been on?
Okay.
This one's like, what's the best date? I mean, it doesn't have to be a first date.
Wow.
You can, but.
All right. Yeah. All right. Not a date, I guess, but it's the all-inclusive in April where we took a trip with Kristen, just two of us for a day before Spencer, who was on recently, where I proposed to Kristen in Punta Cana.
There you go.
That's the best date I've been on a long time. best first date was when we went to Pins, and I reserved the lane. Like, we went there, and it was like we kind of were friends and talking, and like we had a lot of conversations, all that stuff. She was going through some stuff and all, and I couldn't remember if it was Kristen with an EN or an IN. So I blatantly asked her, I'm sorry, how do you spell your name? So, I know it now, though. I know it now. I know it very well. And I've corrected people on it, thankfully. I mean, when people spell it wrong, I'm like, it's IN. So, best date and also best first date.
There you go.
It's just like, I don't know how we got from that date to the best date where I proposed to her and she said yes. Where the first date, and we had talked a lot, like even like through social media where her name is on it. Like, I'm so shocked that she's just like, this guy is an idiot. Can't even spell my name right.
Oh.
So I just got a text.
Oh, all right.
No, it just says keep moving. I'm not going to do that.
How
many more we got? A couple?
Yep.
All right.
Would you rather be hot, smart, or able to fix anything?
Hot, like physically, not like
attractiveness.
Okay.
Yes. Physical.
Hot,
would you rather be
smart.
physical attractiveness, smart, or be able to fix anything?
How smart and how practical? Because my answer is I would be.
You'd rather be street smart than book smart?
No, I would not. How, like, if I had to pick, realistically, I'd say able to fix anything, because I think that's a very practical thing I don't have as much. You know what I mean? Like, save a lot of money, you'd be able to do it all yourself, and you feel accomplished, right? Super smart, if you played your cards right and you won the lottery a little bit with life, you would be able to hire people to fix everything. And, you know, money attracts people more than hotness sometimes. You know, you have a lot of dumb, attractive people out there that, yeah, it might get you. It's just like we talked about the bottle, you know, on whiskey, where it's like, yeah, it'll get you your first buy. They're not going to come back for the second bottle. So I would say probably realistically, my first answer would be I want to be able to fix anything. Life, probably just be super smart, but not be like that awkward smart that no one can relate with. You know what I mean?
So
that's
that's
smart enough that it's like, I am very rich. I was able to do that, and then I can hire anyone, and then, you know, I'm not the best looking guy out there, but hopefully I can find someone that
what
I can talk to that I'm attracted to.
or they're attracted to your bank account.
No, I don't want that either.
Yeah, none of us want that.
No.
Yeah, that's part of the tough one, because my initial reaction is go with smart, but they're
dumb is also like that whole not knowing, like, you know, ignorance is bliss. That's a nice way to go through life. If you're just stupid, and you're just like, man, oh, look at that sunshine, that's so great. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, that's not a bad way to go through life either.
Yeah. The thing with being overly smart, whether it be, so there gets a point where, like, when you get to a certain IQ level and you're smart,
there you go.
There's that social awkwardness.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah.
And Tim, kind of having skills will get you further than your looks. Yeah.
Yeah. I think
with the right girl, absolutely.
Yeah. I think both of us are putting looks
Thankfully, Kristen's
last.
not that girl. Like, she, you know, I don't know what she's doing, but not because the skills are smart. Definitely not for looks.
Although the good thing about being smart, though, is the ability to have a conversation with other smart people. Like, there are certain people that I have come across in my life that I just can't have a conversation with.
Because too smart or too dumb?
They're too dumb.
Too smart's tough, too.
Yes.
Yeah.
But, I mean, shit. When Jess and I were dating, we were at Polaris Mall, and we were watching these kids ride the escalator, and they were throwing Skittles down the escalator.
Kids on a goddamn escalator.
And like, they were trying to see how far Skittles would go down. And Jess and I are standing there at a little table next to it. And yep, Jess just texted me, Skittles. Uh,
I think of mall rats.
so
Kids on the goddamn escalator again. It's going to be a bloodbath.
Jess and I are standing there because at the end of the mall, they had a couple of high top tables with no chairs, just like a place that you can go stand.
Yeah.
It was also right outside of Hot Topic.
Used to be a cool store.
Yeah. And all of a sudden, Jess and I started having a conversation about the physics of a Skittle going down an escalator. There are not that many people in my life
True
that
love
I
right
can
there,
have
folks.
that conversation.
If you can't have that conversation with your significant other, then I don't know what love is.
But I definitely see the value in being able to fix anything. But again, I also think, though, if you're smart, you could read and watch a video and learn how to fix something too. Like, you don't know it just off the top of your head, but
We're
you
living in a different world, right? But I mean, again, I also look at, value of your time sometimes, depending on the circumstances, is that, if you have connections or a network where you can have someone come, like, it's not what we do for a living, right? You know what I mean? But it's if someone has that knowledge that you pay for that and you can take your time and there are some not super simple, but some things. It's like what will take me a full weekend or possibly the following weekend because I messed it up. If I can pay a smaller amount of fee and you look at like what your hourly time to you is worth and you balance that out. And that's, I think, a level of intelligence too, is that you can look at it as like, I would rather hire someone to do it right and it'll take them no time and I pay them a fee for that.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to it's going to take me like 10 hours, 20 hours that I have to squeeze in over several days. So there's levels to that, right? You can't be an expert on everything, but there's some people that can just do it. Like they were raised that way. They look at things differently.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of a difference between some of the different generations. You go to say for you and me, you go to our grandparents, they would spend the time to save the money.
We also didn't have YouTube.
Yeah, our generation and younger, they would rather spend the money to save the time.
It's the balance of what I was just saying about your
how
value
much is
of
your
time versus like then there's the other side of it of laziness, right? But there's a sense of accomplishment that absolutely boosts your value of time so that the next time it happens, you don't, you know what I mean? Like there's certain things like when like Kyle was mentioning something about the garage door being like, is that a wooden garage door? Like he's young enough that it's like he hasn't seen that. It's a beautiful like wood garage door that even the garage door guy, when the thing came off the track and then he's like, oh, this is too heavy for this. But even that, the conversation I had with him was, he's like, I don't know why they put an 18-foot like wide door instead of 16-foot. And I just looked at him and I was like, well, the builder put an 18-foot hole. I'm not kidding. This was a conversation. This guy was like, he was like a garage door savant, like nerd, but he didn't like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know why they put that on there. And I was like,
because that's the
when
dimension.
the house was built in 86, like they put an 18-foot like wide hole. So you have to get an 18-foot. And he literally looked back at me. He's like, well, that makes sense. I'm like, yeah.
What are you gonna do?
Probably should have a metal door on it because it's so much lighter. I'm like, well, but this one's just fine, right? I mean, it's in good shape. And he's like, yeah, it is. I'm like, I'm not going to replace the garage door because it's lighter.
Yeah.
It's just like those types of, like that guy was like too smart in the field he's in, probably super great at his job.
Yeah.
But then it was just like, he also like left like grease marks all over, didn't clean up. And it's just like, he's missing some of those things. But it's like he replaced the springs twice in one visit. But that comment about like, I don't know why they put this big of a door on here. I'm like, because that's the hole they were trying to.
What, they're going to put a 16-foot door on an 18-foot hole?
Or foot on each side, like rollers.
Leave a gap for some skinny burglar to get through.
It's that, like, that's the level of smartness, and that you brought the book versus like, street smart. That's one of those things. It's like, Jesus Christ.
When did you hit your prime?
I'd like to think I haven't. Probably when I met Kristen. Well, after I met Kristen, not when I did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's been all
still in progress because of that. Jesus. Yeah, I don't know, man. Physically, probably in my 30s when I was just dedicated to that. You know what I mean? But all in all, I'm fortunate to say I think I'm living in my prime.
Good.
I really am. This is better than people joke about. You know, you hit your prime in high school or whatever else. Like it's just no. This is it, man. I hope that the future is my prime.
Yeah.
But thus far, current life situation, this is. I mean, this is beyond my. You know, I got a great job that I enjoy doing what I'm doing. Could always make more money in a career, right? You know what I mean? Like there's always more out there, but you have that balance. You know, the fact that had a big growth period over the last like 6 years, 7 years. The fact that I was able to buy the house that I had that we were in before this, you know, we're doing the podcast, and that actually panned out with meeting Kristen and her going through her rough part of her life. It's like everything lined up. So hitting the prime in your life, I think at your later, we're not in our later ages, but you know what I mean, like midlife, if you will, hopefully, is if everything syncs up to a point that again goes back to the success thing. Your question about success is, my answer was, when you wake up in the morning, like, are you on the right path? Like, I think I'm living my prime right now, which isn't saying a lot. That's no insult to Kristen. Like for me, it's like, I could do better. I want to do better. I want to do all that stuff. There is still the hunger there, but there is a level of waking up in the morning, being happy, and also not necessarily being complacent. So then when you look in the mirror, or when you like get up or you do that stuff, you're just like, you're not sure where you're going. I think that's for me. And no insult to any other like friends or family or any other periods of my life, this is the happiest I think I've ever been.
Good.
And I hope that there will be a time that will be a further level of prime life going forward. How about you, Nate?
It depends on like what area I would say we're talking about being the prime.
Overall.
I know,
Overall.
but like the best the best I ever felt, the most energy was probably my later years in college. But then some of the happiest
Testosterone, man.
Yeah. But then like some
I
of
can hook you up with a good doctor.
but then like some of the happiest were probably like a year or two after Jess and I got married, like those first few years, but not necessarily the first, only because when we got married, Jess was going through some stuff career wise. And so there were some, there were some struggles and some difficult times with that. And, she got on her feet. I changed careers. I was doing good, but like, there was that time. It's weird that the time I was on the road as a cigar rep.
I like that comment from Ryan Jones.
That is good.
There's a lot coming from him. If you remember Ryan Jones,
yeah,
from Illinois.
He's
on. I gotta get you up to speed with him.
Oh, okay.
He's killing it.
Good.
Him and his family doing great.
Good. No, it was weird. I feel like the times Jess and I communicated the most were the times when I was away. So
traveling.
Yeah. So when I got the job selling cigars,
is that good or bad?
The communication was great.
No, but when you're close, you're not communicating as much.
Well, and so that was one of those things that we have learned in that time frame since is, sometimes when I was still at AEP and Jess still at OSU, we're both working from home. She's working in her office in the basement. I'm working in my office off the kitchen. but we're both in front of our laptops and our computer screens all day. There's no physical interaction face to face. It's all through
proximity wise. That's
proximity wise, great.
That was rough on a lot.
But then by the time we're done with the day, like we're both just exhausted. And like we've talked ourselves out of wanting to talk the rest of the day. Or you get those times where, say one of you has a bad day. Like
you want to vent.
You don't sometimes
they want to vent or you
want to vent. So sometimes that person wants to vent and the other person's like, all right, cool, I'll be there to listen. But sometimes it gets repetitive and you're like, all right, here we go again.
Oof.
Which is bad.
Bad on that person's part. They're like, here we go again.
Yeah. But I think like being in that constant proximity where the person's always telling you about what's going on, like if you didn't know what was going on, days at a time, and then all of a sudden they come up like, hey, here's what's going on. I almost feel like there's more of a vested interest because
I love those reels, and not memes, but anymore like the reels, because I relate to that, where it's just like I come home and I hear her vent about all this stuff, and I'm just I'm all in because I hate Helen too. You know what I mean?
Yes, I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about.
I've had that. Not saying names, that's a previous job, but it's like one of those things like, yeah, no, Helen sucks. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, I wish we could. Do you want me to talk to her? You know what I mean? Like, I would love to talk to her. She's like,
oh, your boss is giving you a hard time. What's her address?
Yeah.
No. Like, all right. I'm just saying. All right. Last one.
This is the last one. Bobby Crow, welcome to the show. He says, questions? What are we talking about?
Yep. Last one. Aside from your family, who would you take a bullet for?
Kristen. She family?
I'm pretty sure at this point.
Tony. She family?
By legal standards, no. But
I think legal standards actually high. Yeah, he is.
No. Because like
just own him, like, yeah, that's bad.
Because technically he's property in the state of Ohio.
Not at all. You met him
in the state of Ohio. So like what I mean by that, like if someone's
Nate
trying,
Hale, is that what we want to hear?
No,
is that what we want to hear? Nate Hale. I'd take a bullet for Nate Hale. I wouldn't have to because he'd already shoot him. Sadly, fucking stranger. Honestly, that's the honest answer. Okay. Probably like instinct anymore. Probably not. Younger years, I would have probably dove in front of a bullet for a random stranger, just being the hero. At this point, it's no. It's terrible. Terrible to think. Like, Jesus. Besides family. You think about it, or I'll think about it. You comment.
So a few non-family members came to mind when I first read that question.
Okay.
One is you.
I appreciate that. I meant that with you. But again, they would probably shoot him. Bobby Crow. Yeah, okay. Like people with Ray Cheshire, Tim Dodge. Yeah, okay.
Tim, yeah. Dan.
Okay. Dan Radke. He's
Dan
been on the show before.
Yep. Because Dan is probably my best guy friend behind you.
It's nice of you to say. It's nice of you to say. Both for him and for me.
Because that's one of the that's been one of the challenging things over the years is, you and I live on opposite sides of town, and yet you're still the closest in terms of proximity, you're still the closest friend I have.
Yeah.
A lot of my guy friends don't live near me.
Sure.
So it's tough to be able to get together and hang out the way I would like to be able to do sometimes. And then work schedules and, podcast schedules, those always kind of hinder things.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you don't necessarily get the free time that you want to be able to do some of those things.
That's why we've gone back to every other week now.
Yeah, but like,
And honestly, we have.
I mean, my best friend from college, Ben, I haven't seen him since his wedding, and he's not on any social media platforms. He lost his phone, changed his number. I haven't been in contact with him.
If you lose your phone, you don't change your number. There was a different issue there.
Yeah. So
Seriously.
you know, if Ben all of a sudden lived in Columbus and I ran into him again, like I would want to reconnect with him.
Would you take a bullet for him?
Back then, I absolutely would have.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think as you get older, it's and this isn't maybe a I don't know, it's a different feel, but I think that there might be some people out there that this question is biased towards American audience. All right, Ray. There are the people that would miss you that are in your family, right? The people that are close to you, like Jess for you, especially, Kristen for me. I am not sad or ashamed to say that I would take a bullet for less people these days, because I know that although Kristen would be appreciative and honored that I did that for someone and would follow my character, it's almost not ashamed, but I would say that I would take a bullet for less people these days, because I know that she would not want me to not be here because of that. And I know it's a very selfish thing for me to say. Not selfish on her part, but selfish that I would rather be here for her than do that for someone else. Where in the past, where I didn't have that investment that I was behind, that I would be like, yeah, I'll do the heroic thing and do that stuff. But the reality is, I think as you get older, it's just like, all right, so now I'm not here if it hits me the right way or the wrong way, if you will, but I'm no longer here. If I take a bullet, you know, I know I'm not going to die. Anyone, you know what I mean? But it's one of those things. It's like, that's a tough question. It's a good one, but it's a tough question. And Ray, yes, we're taking this seriously. Nobody else shoots each other.
Want to bet?
Yeah, in America. And also other countries. It's weird that it doesn't hit the news like it does here. You're going to end that on that?
That was the last one that was sent. I just went by the order they were sent to me.
Jesus.
Just send me another one so we can end on a lighter note.
Does anyone else have another question? Bobby Crow says, do you guys wish you had a kid?
Yes.
Nate, go ahead with that question.
Well, I just answered it. Yes.
Oof. No. I mean, yes and no. I mean, like, at this point in my life, Kristen and I are doing really well, and we've talked about it, and I think we have a great life together, and we're at the age that I don't think that we're going to do that. And we've talked about it. Kristen also says, yes, please. Another happier question. Do we have one?
What podcast do you listen to regularly?
Bourbon and BS podcast.
I honestly don't listen to any other podcasts.
That's not from the cards.
I know, she just texted me that.
Yeah. How about you guys? What else do you like to listen to? I like the Ender Frisella one that we talked about on the podcast before.
Yeah.
Still like it to this day.
I'm not much of a podcast guy. If I decided to
A real question.
Jess said it was from a different deck of cards.
She's a closing remarks. Let's just go there. somehow wrap it up here.
Kristen said last meal, which is also kind of morbid.
Oh, on a positive note, you're dying. Last meal. Let's do it.
Last meal. Big old steak, shrimp.
Like with the steak or
Yep.
before the steak?
With
Okay.
like shrimp scampi or even fried shrimp.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
On the side.
We'll go side dish.
What kind of steak? You can't say steak.
Oh,
Cut.
what kind of steak?
Yeah. Order the meal.
All right.
Let's come up to you as a server. What can I get you before the chair?
let's do that. Let's do that tomahawk ribeye.
Okay. How many ounces, including the bone?
Including the bone, 30.
You're gonna have a 45-ounce tomahawk at the wedding.
Okay, bring it on.
They've got it. You got to bring long pants and a collared shirt.
Yeah, I'd already planned on that because Jess asked me the other day. She's like, "What are you planning on wearing?"
45 ounce. I'm not saying this is your last meal at the resort. Unless you're calling it in the DR here.
No, so yeah, big old bone-in ribeye, shrimp. Do mashed potatoes with butter.
Garlic? No garlic.
They can put garlic in there. Absolutely.
Yeah,
throw garlic. Yeah, throw a whole clove of garlic in there. Let's go.
Mix it in there.
Let's go.
Right. Veggies? You're just no veggies on your last meal. You don't need it.
If we had to do veggies,
it's your last meal. You're choosing.
If I had to pick a veggie, let's go corn on the cob.
Oh, no nutritional value, but it's tasty. Right?
Fuck yeah.
You don't need nutrition in your time.
It's the last meal. Who gives a
Right,
shit?
yeah, right.
Go ahead and slather that.
I like to order this way regardless. You know what I mean? Like regardless.
And then dessert. Probably some sort of cheesecake probably for dessert.
Like just straight up cheesecake? Are you talking cherries on top? What do we?
No cherries.
Okay.
Yeah.
Upset your stomach, as you're dying.
Yeah. and then a bottle of whiskey. if I can fit any more in at that point.
The cocktail of choice is a bottle of whiskey. What's the bottle of whiskey? You going extraordinary? Are you going every day? What are you doing? The clock's ticking.
After this,
the warden's already here.
After this meal, do I get to have a cigar?
It's your meal.
Let's do.
What's the bottle of whiskey? What's the cigar? Let's go. You got.
Let's do a bottle of Angel's Envy only because it's the bourbon that got me into bourbon. So let's go full circle with it.
Mm-hmm. All right. Because he watched.
Yeah.
Kristen always says, "Screw the veggies." She's a side girl, but she carbs. Give me the carbs.
So potatoes.
Yeah.
Potatoes, French fries, tater tots with cheese and bacon.
All the carbs. Trying to find this question again here. Probably can't find it. There it is. Last meal, also kind of morbid. My last meal starts with a probably dirty martini.
Okay.
Dirty martini, blue cheese, stuffed olives, followed by an old fashioned. So we're not even at the meal. We're just opening this up.
Okay. All right. Yeah, all right. I didn't realize we were doing that.
Smoked old fashioned.
Fuck it. Let's have a bottle of Harlan before the steak dinner.
No, it's your choice. And I'd also do steak, but I'd open it up with a chopped wedge salad. So you get the wedge salad, but you get it chopped. Have you ever had that?
Just to fill up space in your stomach?
It's easier to eat. You've done the wedge salad before, right?
No,
You've never had a wedge salad?
no.
Oh my God. Wedge salad. The
When I
problem
used
is
to eat salads, it was spinach.
they come out with a wedge salad, but it's literally like a half or quarter like head of lettuce.
Yeah.
So you ask for it chopped. Easier to eat. The dressing's all over it. Thank you for Kristen for introducing that to me and all my friends, because now all my friends order chopped wedge salad. And then I'd probably do it's got to be a ribeye, bone in, if I could. If it was included, I'd probably just do straight butter, maybe, blue cheese crust on that, and medium rare, of course.
Oh, of course.
I go classic, some asparagus. I would do garlic mashed potatoes for sure. Dessert, not really anything. Probably get a coffee, Irish coffee with Bailey's, and finish it off with a port, and then you just pull the plug, man. Before I feel all that food sitting in, you know what I mean?
20-ounce ribeye, lobster tail, smoked brisket, large monocles pizza, and Dr. Pepper to wash it down.
Tim, only you. I think
That
that actually would be your last meal if you did all at the same time, honestly.
I'm waiting for Tim to come back with, no, I've had it before.
Yeah, I had it last night. I'm fine. All right. All right, boys and girls. Something spicy as fuck, Ray says. All right. We don't really have any closing remarks. I'll put it up on the screen here. But I want to thank you guys. This is fun. Just two of us out here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Haven't done it in a long time. We appreciate all that stuff. Ryan Jones from Illinois, Ray Cheshire from Vietnam, Aaron Hall from local. Love seeing you back listening to the podcast. Hopefully you keep listening. Aaron, if you ever want to come on, love to have you on. I know you're local, but you've gone through a lot. You've got a lot of experience with the business world and what you've done in the baseball world and all that stuff. Love that. Tim Dodge, Bobby Crow, late coming in. Sorry we didn't address all your comments, but love to have you included again. Love all you guys listening to the podcast. And it's interesting. Later at night, as we're rounding out, it's after 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and we have 10, 20 listeners right now.
The
So
highest views we've had all night.
we could stay on all night. We're not going to do it. And so hopefully you guys can tune in 2 weeks when we have David Welsh on. We're smoking the H. Upman Day Trader. What do you think with this one, with the whiskey?
I thought the Day Trader was going to overpower the whiskey a little bit. No. It's an
Construction is so much.
this cigar is almost twice the MSRP as what the Hoyo de Monterey is.
It is.
And it's definitely a way better cigar. I would give it a higher rating than I gave the Hoya.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think there's more going on with this cigar, and it plays better with this bottle.
For sure. Closing remarks. Thank you guys. I mean, that's it. I mean, this was a fun conversation. Thank you, Nate, and thank you to Jess for sending the cards that Nate forgot. But that was a fun one. And we can always do that. We do like to do like the random comments or questions from the audience during the podcast for a part 2 that we don't have a topic for. But if you guys have a topic for us, we'd love to talk about it. If you are local, have you on, whether you're like a cigar representative or bourbon representative, or if you're just part of the community, we can make it work for the most part. And we love to continue this conversation, because that's what this podcast is all about, is the bourbon and BS community. And it's not the same thing as just the PCA coming up. It's interesting seeing some of the posts coming where these people have made, and I appreciate all those guys that do a lot with this bourbon and cigar side, where the PCA coming up, and it's like they're doing like media dates and stuff like that. There was a time years ago that I was like, we should get to that point. I like this. This is great. This is comfortable. It's about the people that are listening, and we love having you guys included in this, and hope you guys still do that. And please, like I said, share, like, subscribe, all that stuff, review it on all the podcasts and the Facebook and the YouTube and all that stuff. Everything you listen to it on. We hope you guys continue to support this. So we appreciate that. Nate, do you have anything to say?
No, this was, I mean, this is what was fun about it, because we got a lot of interaction from the community, which is one of the biggest things we strive for in doing this, is getting you guys involved in this. Coming up with
One more as we roll out.
Yeah, coming up with the part 2 is always the hardest part of it. So Jess got this deck of cards and goes, "Here, I got this. That way you guys could use it for part 2 of the podcast.
Take it with you." And right before the show, I was like, "All right, let's see those cards." And he's like, "Oh,
shit.
Oh,
Left them on the dining room table."
Tim Dodge says Wednesday is our cigar therapy group. Usually not home until after 8 p.m. But if I see you guys on, try to make it. Sean Anderson.
I was getting ready. Yeah,
You're all sitting on the wrong sides. Yeah, I know, man.
It's about
been a while.
It's about where the location of the outlets are. Soundboard's still.
Sean, you're cross-eyed. We're on the right sides. Sean Anderson just noticed that. It's good to have everyone back. This is our second show back.
You were over there last time too.
In the garage. Love having you guys back. This is fun. I know we're not making millions of dollars off of this stuff, but you guys make it worthwhile. This is our Wednesday night, and we appreciate you guys working with our schedule every other Wednesday. Again, April 9th, David Welsh is going to be on from Altadis USA, and we're going to have some good cigars from Altadis. He's going to bring some new stuff, and he's down in Kentucky right now, and he's going to see what he can find. He's going to bring back. So
all right.
He'll bring the bottle, bring the cigars. And if you guys between now and then have any topics for part 2, we're all for it.
Yeah.
Let's look at it.
Yeah.
This is fun doing the comments and the questions, but you want to do a full-blown topic, we're ready for it.
Yeah. That's always one of the interesting things. Sometimes people are like, "Really? You guys are talking about this? Give us something else." And then that person's like, "I don't have anything." Well, okay. Like, come on. We got to do what we can.
Sean says,
help us out.
Sean Anderson says, I'm medicated, but damn, 2 weeks post-surgery. Happy you're on the mend, man.
Yeah.
Happy to have you back.
Glad to hear you're recovering well.
Absolutely. That's what the community is all about. All right. Cheers. Happy Whiskey Wednesday, everyone. And we'll see you in 2 weeks. But in the meantime, Bourbon and BS community page, get on there, talk to each other. Love all you guys. Cheers.